Hello teacher, my name is Daniel and I make the presentation for final project SIT215 and this is my content table. We will present about the reinforcement learning, Q-learning, and Q-learning on algorithm, taxi problem, car problem, mountain car problem, and we have the different in three problem when we use the algorithm. And the first one is the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is the type of machine learning technique. The combination of the reinforcement learning and the artificial neural network can be designed with can define the agent to learn the best action possible in the virtual environment to achieve the goal, the reward. In the reinforcement learning, the objective is to alter the environment in some way. For example, we would like to the agent to guide a robot to specify in location that's in space. It will receive the possible positive reward along with the observation for the time step if the success in doing well something. To make some process toward to the end. If the agent have not yet success, the reward may be negative 0 or do not make any process. Then the agent will be taught to maximize the reward it earned over the long period. And here the Q-learning. We have Q-learning and about the Q-table and the Pellman equation and some terms in the equation. So the first one, the Q-learning is a reinforcement learning strategy that will determine the next optimal action for the agent. It selects the action. It's random at random to maximize the reward. Like in the given present state of the agent. The Q-learning is the model free. That's it, the policy reinforcement learning that will determine the optimum course of the action. The agent will pick what action to do next in the next phase on where is it in the environment. And talk about the Q table. Okay, the Q table. Here this is a sample for the Q table. We will come to approximate a solution when executing our algorithm. And the agent will choose the multiple pathway. The pathway, and this is the accomplished by the compiling our finding into the Q table, and then the Q table can assist us in determine the optimal course of the action for each environment state. At each state, we utilize the Pellman equation to calculate the projected future state and reward. When we keep it in the database to compare to other states. Here is the term and equation. This is the Pellman equation. The Pellman equation does it use to calculate the worth of the worth of the state and to assess how good is it to be in take that state. The maximum ideal value will be obtained in the optimal state. And we have here to know about the equation. That is the state we define by the letter S and the action in letter A. And the Q value is I part with the Q include S and state and action. The state it represents the current position of an agent in an environment, and an action is the action of the agent to take when is he in the current condition, and the reward the agent will receive the possible or negative for each activity, and the episode when the agent and the terminating state can't take any action. The Q value just due to measure the quality of the action I perform at the current state. The temporal difference is a formula for calculating the Q variable based on the present and the prior state and low and action value. Here the text problem is in reinforcement learning problem. That's involve the variable. Let's see the taxi must pick up and wrap up people from one location to another another location. While doing it, the taxi must take the shortest and quickest route possible. And the reward that taxi is the reward for the action. That's make the reward can be positive or negative depending upon the taxi. If the taxi make correct backup or wrap up the passenger, the taxi will receive the reward such as the positive feedback, or if the taxi make the mistake, fail in the drop off passenger, and the correct drop off of the person will receive the penalty. Due to the state here, the taxi problem is set on the 5x5 grid. On this where in the grid, either to pick up and drop off location for the taxi. Action to solve the problem, we need to break down the problem into the possible state. The agent has 6 possible states which it can take the north, south, east, and west pick up and drop off. That's the action for the agent to make the activity. And here when we apply the Q learning and reinforcement by the random policy and the optimal policy on the Q learning from the Q learning algorithm. I have to wrap here to present about that, to compare that. On the left, that's the from the random policy, and on the right, that's the optimal policy. And on the left, with the random policy, it takes the method where random action are taken. It takes a long time, and the algorithm is not ideal for the larger site. But with the Q-learning in optimal algorithm, this is the best method to solve this kind of problem, and it can learn from the past mistake, and the Q table store the Q value get better over time. So we can see the number to solve the every time in the random graph is high, and with the Q learning it's reduced every time over time. When we compare two solution methods, we can see that the Q learning approach is far more efficient, and because when the program is run without the reinforcement learning algorithm, it takes the loss of step, and it causes a loss of penalties, and the result for this is that without the reinforcement algorithm, the agent doesn't learn from its past mistake. So that's why the Q learning is better than the normal algorithm in the random policy. Then come to the couple problem with the potential of the pole on the well. The couples is also known as the inverted pendulum. It's unsteady and point over, but the car might be moved to regulate it. Then the purpose of the challenge is to maintain the pole balance by moving the car left or right with the proper ratio applied to the pivot point. The couple is joined to a car that runs over frictionless track via the interactive stroke. For the +1 or -1 is applied to the car to regulate mechanism. The idea is to keep the pendulum from the falling over when it's begin upright at every time step. That the pole remain erect revolve with a +1 point when the pole is more than 15 degrees of the vertical or the car really more than 2.5 units away from the center. The vessel terminated. The pilot is dropped on the top of the car. The number of action space is 2, and the action space is the district following the 0 and 1. The 0 is moving the car to the left, and 1 is moving the car to the right. With the solution we have here that one of the options for the solving the car problem is the random policy reinforcement. The algorithm in this approach, the perform random motion to maintain the pole balance, and it utilized over 1,000 impulses. That this strategy work in the same way that it does in the taxi problem, and is it a good problem solution can be observed from the code that this method take 3,778 for the 2,000 times stack and array to keep the portrait. With the Q-learning, the Q-learning algorithm will work to the same. It work for the taxi problem. It creates Q table and store the Q value from the agent will learn the current move based on the reverse move. The agent can make only 2 possible actions whether to move left, that is the +1, or to the right, the -1, or that's also be 0 and 1. Using the algorithm, we can see the graph below on the right for Q-learning. It generated the agent in charge for 500 episodes by default, and for this one, when we comparing the random algorithm and the Q-learning algorithm, we can see that the random algorithm is much more efficient than the Q-learning algorithm. This is because of for the car problem. The car problem we need to larger number of the same step for each episode. And the Q-learning algorithm has smaller number of steps, the time step than the random algorithm. It's like so the random algorithm take more effect is better for this problem. And next one, move to the mountain car problem. In the game with the goal is drive the car from the left hill to the right hill. This car engine isn't power enough to go one time. So as a result, the only way to success is build up the mountain by driving back and forth. Then we can use the algorithm to detect the car to reach the goal. Position with at the top of the mountain, and the number of actions space is 3, and the action space is decreased in environment following is 0, 1, and 2. Move the car to the left and do nothing, or move the car to the right. With the reward, we aim to for the agent to reach the flap on the top of the right hill and rapidly as possible. As a result, the agent if we got a penalty with the result